Thank you for joining us as we share poems from the various prayer books with the occasional outlier. And as we begin, I ask that everyone remain on mute. This marks the 5th time that we have provided Mount Zion with a meditative poetry reading during the High Holy Days, and frankly, I am so looking forward to today's time together. One of the effects of the pandemic in my life is that time has lost some of its meaning, as one day, 1 week, 1 month bleeds into the next. Within this context, I'm even more grateful for the Jewish calendar. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel goes so far as to claim that Judaism is a religion of time, aiming at the sanctification of time. There's a rhythm to the Jewish calendar, and now we find ourselves here at the beginning of the High Holy Days, at the beginning of a new year, and as an added blessing on Shabbat, no less. Poetry helps us mark time. These short, intense, evocative language paintings ask us to stop for a moment, to breathe, to consider life in our place in life. Poetry can be the gentle tick-tock of our soul's clocks if we're open to the experience. Because you are here, I can only assume that you are, and that's a good thing. However, it's not just poetry that we'll be hearing today. There will be the occasional prose selection too. I chose those prose selections for their lyrical qualities and hope you will find them meaningful. I started arranging these poetry readings as a supplement to other meditative sessions that are offered during Mount Zion's High Holy Days. And in particular, I remember one Yom Kippur, sitting in Harris Chapel, listening to Joshua Kostenbaum playing a number of pieces on the cello, feeling transfixed and transported. My hope is that participating in this poetry reading will have a similar life-affirming effect on you. With that meditative quality in mind, we will move without comment from one poem to the next. To create a transition between poems, I will announce the reader, the poem or prose title, and the author. One of the joys of this reading is that we are not all English majors. The readers have volunteered or been volunteered for this role, and each will bring their own approach to breathing life into the words. We will try not to rush so that each poem can be heard distinctly. In a perfect world, all of these poems would be simultaneously displayed, but I need not tell you that we do not live in a perfect world. Instead, I will make the list of poems available, and most of them can be found in the silver and gold prayer books. Those that are not in the prayer books can often be found quite easily online with a simple browser search. So, let's start the new year. Bob Mast will read from Rabbi Laura Lieber's Pausing at the Threshold in Praise of Open Gates.
Rosh Hashanah brings us to the edge of many thresholds, not only the new year and not only imminent danger. Who knows? Perhaps something better awaits us. The open door of repentance offers promise and possibility, a sense of welcome, hospitality, and refuge. The threshold of Rosh Hashanah is both a passage through and a doorway into. As anxious as we may feel when confronting the unknown, our prayers remind us that we are not forever constrained by habit and history. Pausing at the threshold fortifies us for the journey. Rosh Hashanah is a moment of opening. The gates of repentance swing wide. The book of life is turned to a new page. For a precious few days, the portals are unlocked and open. Then at Ne'ilah, the gates close and our fates, metaphorically, are sealed. But even as the gates of repentance are closing, others begin to open. The gates of prayer, the gates of tears, the gates of righteousness. Our challenge is not merely to enter the new year, but to discover the many openings to a better life.
Amanda Roll Cooney will read the poem Kindness from Naomi Shihab Nye. It's in the Mishkan Halev prayer book, which is the prayer book for Elul. If you have it, it's on page 39.
Kindness. Before you know what kindness really means, you must lose things. Feel the future dissolve in a moment like salt in a weakened broth. What you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go so you know how desolate the landscape can be between the regions of kindness. How you ride and ride, thinking the bus will never stop. The passengers eating maize and chicken will stare out the window forever. Before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in a white poncho lies dead by the side of the road. You must see how this could be you, how he too was someone who journeyed through the night with plans and the simple breath that kept him alive. Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak to it till your voice catches the thread of all sorrows and you see the size of the cloth. Then it is only kindness that makes sense anymore. Only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out into the day to mail letters and purchase bread. Only kindness that raises its head from the crowd of the world to say, "It is I you have been looking for," and then goes with you everywhere, like a shadow or a friend.
Bill Robiner will read Marge Piercy's Coming Up on September, and this too is from Mishkan Halev, page 109.
White butterflies with single black finger paint eyes on their wings dart and settle, eddy and mate over the green tangle of vines in Labor Day morning stream. The year grinds into ripeness and rot, grapes darkening, pears yellowing, the first Virginia creeper twining crimson, the grasses dry straw to burn. The new year rises, beckoning across the umbrellas on the sand. I begin to reconsider my life. What is the yield of my impatience? What is the fruit of my resolve? I turn from frantic white dance over the jungle of productivity, and slowly the Nagoon slides cold water down my throat. I rest on a leaf spotted red. Now is the time to let the mind search backwards, like the raven loosed, to see what can feed us. Now, the time to cast the mind forward, to chart an aerial map of the months. The new year is a great door that stands across the evening, and Yom Kippur is the second door. Between them are song and silence, stone and clay pot to be filled from within myself. I will find there both ripeness and rot, what I have done and undone, what I must let go with the waning days, and what I must take in. With the last tomatoes, we harvest the fruit of our lives.
Lovely. Thank you, Bill. Judy Marshall will read Praying the Sunset Prayer by Yankov Gladstein, again from Mishkan Halev, page 5.
Praying the Sunset Prayer. I'll let you in on a secret about how one should pray the sunset prayer. It's a juicy bit of praying, like strolling on grass. Nobody's chasing you. Nobody hurries you. You walk toward your Creator with gifts in pure, empty hands. The words are golden. Their meaning is transparent. It's as though you're saying them for the first time. If you don't catch on that you should feel a little elevated, you're not praying the sunset prayer. The tune is sheer simplicity. You're just lending a helping hand to the sinking day. It's a heavy responsibility. You take a created day and you slip it into the archive of life, where all our lived out days are lying together. The day is departing with a quiet kiss. It lies open at your feet while you stand saying the blessings. You can't create anything yourself, but you can lead the day to its end and see clearly the smile of its going down. See how whole it all is, not diminished for a second. How you age with the days that keep dawning. How you bring your lived out day as a gift to eternity.
Thank you, Judy. Adam Wernick will read Mary Oliver's In Blackwater Woods, and this too is from Mishkan Halev, page 83.
Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light, are giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating away over the blue shoulders of the ponds. And every pond, no matter what its name is nameless now. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this: the fires and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes, to let it go. To let it go.
Lovely. Thank you, Adam. Jennifer Wall will read Max Ehrmann's Desiderata, and this is one of the outliers, so it's not found in any of our prayer books. Jennifer, please.
Sorry, trying to find the unmute button. Okay. Go placidly amid the noise and the haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even to the dull and the ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexatious to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain or bitter, for there will always be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself. Especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune. But do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesomeness, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him or her to be. And whatever your labors and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful. Strive to be happy.
Lovely. Thank you, Jennifer. I just have to insert this. It's so moving to have everyone reading, and it's so great to hear your voices. So thank you to everyone. Sharon DeMark will read Linda Pastain's Parting the Waters, again from Mishkan Halev, page 51.
Parting the water. Nothing is lost. The past surfaces from the salted tide pool of oblivion over and over again. And here it is now, complete, with ironed sheet, old sins, and pewter candlesticks. My mother and aunt approach, shaking the water from their freshly washed hair like aging mermaids. They have been here all along, sewing or reading a book, waiting for the wand of memory to touch them.
Lovely. Thank you, Sharon. D. Albert will read Wendell Berry's The Wild Geese, another offering from Mishkan Halev, page 81.
Horseback on Sunday morning. Harvest over, we taste persimmon and wild grape, sharp, sweet of summer's end. In time's maze over fall fields, we name names that went west from here, names that rest on graves. We open a persimmon seed to find the tree that stands in promise, pale in the seed's marrow. Geese appear high over us, pass, and the sky closes. Abandon, as in love or sleep, holds them to their way, clear in the ancient faith. What we need is here, and we pray not for new earth or heaven, but to be quiet in heart and in eye clear. What we need is here.
Lovely. Thank you, Dee. Robert Garfinkel will read Mark Doty's The Embrace, Mishkan Halev, page 82.
The embrace. You weren't well or really ill yet either. Just a little tired, your handsomeness tinged by grief or anticipation, which brought to your face a thoughtful, deepening grace. I didn't for a moment doubt you were dead. I knew that to be true still, even in the dream. You'd been out, at work maybe, having a good day, almost energetic. We seemed to be moving from some old house where we'd lived. Boxes everywhere, things in disarray. That was the story of my dream. But even asleep, I was shocked out of the narrative by your face. The physical fact of your face. Inches from mine, smooth shaven, loving, alert. Why so difficult remembering the actual look of you? Without a photograph, without strain. So when I saw your unguarded, reliable face, your unmistakable gaze, opening all the warmth and clarity of warm brown tea, we held each other for the time the dream allowed. Bless you. You came back so I could see you once more plainly, so I could rest against you without thinking this happiness lessened anything, without thinking you were alive again.
Thank you, Robert. Robert, on behalf of everyone here, wish your mother a Shana Tova. Joan Ostrov will read Diane Ackerman's In the Name of Daybreak. This is from the Rosh Hashanah or Gold Prayer Book, page 63.
In the name of the daybreak and the eyelids of morning and the wayfaring moon and the night when it departs, I swear I will not dishonor my soul with hatred, but offer myself humbly as a guardian of nature, as a healer of misery, as a messenger of wonder, as an architect of peace. In the name of the sun and its mirrors and the day that embraces it, and the clouds veil drawn over it, and the uttermost night, and the male and the female, and the plants bursting with seed, and the crowning seasons of the firefly and the apple, I will honor all life, wherever and in whatever form it may dwell, on earth my home, and in the mansions of the stars.
Thank you, Joan. Lovely. Anna Cooney will read Priscilla Stern's Walk With Me, Mishkan Halev, page 138.
Walk with me into the woods. Leave the edge of the forest behind. Come deep into the green until the shafts of sunlight are lost. Feel the stillness of the center. Walk with me to the top of the hill. Leave the broad path behind. Up, up, beyond where the trees grow, hear the quiet of the heights. Walk me into this new year, into its demands, its joys, into the clamor of its unfolding. Walk alone, each of us on our own right path, with the echoes of the blasts of the shofar, with the stillness of the center, with the help of our God.
Lovely, Hannah, thank you. David Knapp will read Introduction to Aleinu, also called No One, and this is from Rosh Hashanah, page 81.
No one ever told me the coming of the Messiah could be an inward thing. No one ever told me a change of heart might be quiet as new fallen snow. No one ever told me that redemption was as simple as springtime and as wonderful as birds returning after a long winter, rose-breasted grosbeaks singing in the swaying branches of a newly budded tree. No one ever told me that salvation might be like a fresh spring wind, blowing away the dried, withered leaves of another year, carrying the scent of flowers, the promise of fruition. What I found for myself, I try to tell you, redemption and salvation are very near, and the taste of them is in the world that God created and laid before us. Rabbi Israel Salanter once spent the night at a shoemaker's home. Late at night, he saw the man working by the light of a flickering candle. "Look how late it is," the rabbi said. "Your candle is about to go out. Why are you still working?" The shoemaker replied, "As long as the candle is burning, it is still possible to mend." For weeks afterward, Rabbi Salanter was heard repeating the shoemaker's words to himself. As long as the candle is burning, it is still possible to mend. As long as the candle burns, as long as the spark of life still shines, we can mend and heal, seek forgiveness and reconciliation, begin again.
Amen. Thank you, David. I see in the chat a question about the different prayer books, and we'll wait, and at the end, we'll just mention the different prayer books and how you can get a hold of them. Our next reader, Susan Robiner, will read Walt Whitman's Miracles, and this is from the Rosh Hashanah prayer book, page 127.
My apologies, I was on mute. Why, who makes much of a miracle? As to me, I know nothing else but miracles. Whether I walk the streets of Manhattan or dart my sight over the roofs of houses toward the sky, or wade through naked feet along the beach just on the edge of the water, or stand under trees in the woods, or talk by day with anyone I love, or sleep in the bed at night with anyone I love, or sit at table at dinner with the rest, or look at strangers opposite me riding in the car, or watch honeybees busy around the hive of a summer forenoon, or animals feeding in the fields, or birds, or the wonderfulness of insects in the air, or the wonderfulness of the sundown, or of stars shining so quiet and bright, or the exquisite, delicate, thin curve of the new moon in spring. These, with the rest, one and all, are to me miracles, the whole referring, yet each distinct and in its place. To me, every hour of the light and dark is a miracle. Every cubic inch of space is a miracle. Every square yard of the surface of the earth is spread with the same. Every foot of the interior swarms with the same. To me, the sea is a continual miracle. The fishes that swim, the rocks, the motion of the waves, the ships with men in them, what stranger miracles are there?
Lovely, Susan, thank you. Deborah Moses will read Mary Oliver's Hello, Sun. It is from the Rosh Hashanah prayer book, page 145.
Hello, sun in my face. Hello, you who make the morning and spread it over the fields and into the faces of the tulips and the nodding morning glories, and into the windows of even the miserable and the crotchety. Best preacher that ever was, dear star that just happens to be where you are in the universe to keep us from forever darkness, to ease us with warm touching, to hold us in the great hands of light. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Watch now how I start the day in happiness and kindness. The morning wind forever blows. The poem of creation is uninterrupted, but few are the ears that hear it.
Beautiful, Deb. Good morning. Thank you. Sienna Goodwin will read They went forth from Egypt, which can be found in the Rosh Hashanah prayer book, page 165.
They went forth from Egypt in a single night. But next time, the miracle will be different. Once two sages were walking very early in the valley, and they saw the light of the morning star. Said one to the other, "This is how the redemption will be. The dawn breaks with a single ray of light, and bit by bit the sky is illumined until morning comes and the darkness is gone. So the redemption will occur little by little, growing steadily and gradually until the world is full of light. Do not wait for a miracle or the sudden transformation of the world. Bring the day closer step by step with every act of courage, of kindness, of healing and repair. Do not be discouraged by the darkness. Lift up every spark you can and watch the horizon for the coming of the dawn. Look closely. It has already begun."
Lovely, Siana, thank you. Elias Pastrana Navarro and I will read Keeping Quiet, or A Callarse, by Paulo Neruda, found on page 197 in your Rosh Hashanah prayer book, and Elias will begin with the Spanish version.
Apologies. You hear me now?
We can.
Oh,
Good to
okay.
see you, friend.
So I do again, right?
Please.
Ahora contaremos 12 y nos quedamos todos quietos. Por una vez sobre la tierra, no hablemos en ningún idioma. Por un segundo, detengámonos, no movamos tanto los brazos.
Now we will count to 12, and we will all keep still. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much.
Sería un minuto fragante, sin prisa, sin locomotoras. Todos estaríamos juntos en una inquietud instantánea. Los pescadores del mar frío no harían daño a las ballenas y el trabajador de la sal miraría sus manos rotas.
It would be an exotic moment without rush, without engines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands.
Los que preparan guerras verdes, guerras de gas, guerras de fuego, victorias sin sobrevivientes, se pondrían un traje puro y andarían con sus hermanos por la sombra, sin hacer nada. No se confunda lo que quiero con la inacción definitiva. La vida es solo lo que se hace. No quiero nada con la muerte.
Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victories with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade doing nothing. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it's about. I want no truck with death.
Si no pudimos ser unánimes, moviendo tanto nuestras vidas. Tal vez no hacer nada una vez, tal vez un gran silencio pueda interrumpir esta tristeza, este no entendernos jamás y amenazarnos con la muerte. Tal vez la tierra nos enseñe cuando todo parece muerto y luego todo estaba vivo.
If we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. Perhaps the earth can teach us as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive.
Ahora contaré hasta 12 y tú te callas y yo me voy.
Now I'll count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. Thank you, Elias. Sue Stein will read Mark Nazamova's The Israelites Walked, and that can be found in the Rosh Hashanah prayer book, page 161.
The Israelites walked into the Reed Sea, 1 foot at a time. What were they thinking about as the water rose up their legs, chilling their hearts, advancing toward their open mouths? We continue to walk here now, 1 foot at a time, on our better days forward. Alone, I cannot reach the far shore without drowning. Somehow I don't go under. The person to my right holds me up. Something I cannot see holds him up. Blessed is the source of help so often unexpected. I step forward. The sea is vast.
Lovely, Sue, thank you. And for our final poem, Marit Havni will read from Songs of Chana by Giora Leshem, found in the Rosh Hashanah prayer book, page 249.
בני בני, בטרם אצריך בבטן ידעתך, ובטרם תצא מרחם קראתי אל הרוח. מילים בכלא בשריך הראתי, צלילים, מילים, הדים בלי קול, תמונות בטרם היותן גוונים, בפרי היה רכבי. לשווא עכשיו הזיכרון הזה, ממולמל אולי, מבעתת השקט שבעיניי מצחה חרם. בני בני, מגופי בך נתתי בשר ודם, עורקים ואור, משורשי יצאת ותפרה, נצרי מילים פורחות. הקול המסובב את ההיכל, יקרא שמואל שמואל, ועל דל שפתיי ימותו המילים. My son, before I formed you in my belly, I knew you, and before you would go forth from my womb, I called to the wind. In the prison of your flesh, I conceived words, tones, words, voiceless echoes, pictures before they were hues. My womb became fruit. In vain now this memory is mumbled, perhaps, by the silent terror in the eyes of your high forehead. My son, from my body I have given you flesh and blood, arteries and skin. From my root you went forth to bear fruit, soaring shoots of words. The voice that moves around the temple will call out, Samuel, Samuel, and on the threshold of my humble lips the words will die.
Lovely, Marit. Thank you. Thank you so much. So someone asked about the prayer books. Mandy, I'll give you a second. I'd like you to hold up Mishkan Halev in a second. But so this is the Rosh Hashanah prayer book that I keep referencing. I just prefer to call it the Gold Book. It's the one that's distributed in the synagogue during the High Holy Days, and it's also given to the B'nai Mitzvah students. Mandy, if you could hold up the Mishkan Halev. This is the prayer book that we use during Elul and for Slichot. It's not readily available. It's not given out, but it's so filled with lovely poems that Mandy and I decided to buy it, and it's available through the Central Conference of American Rabbis. My face hurts from smiling so much. I'm going to put this in gallery view so I can see all of your lovely faces. Each of you, you bring a gift. You bring a gift that you share with all of us when you take the time to breathe life into words. And I want to thank you so, so much. And I wish you Shana Tova and Shabbat Shalom.